This is a video on how to wire two Lipo batteries in series, so you're creating a 16S pack from two AS cells and also having a physical BMS wired. And here we have our two packs together. There's a negative side and a positive side. And to wire the two 8s into a 16, all you do is take the positive from the negative pack, connect it to the negative from the positive pack. This gives us 1 to 8 cells on one side and 9 to 16 on the other. This is your main positive out, and then this is your main negative out. So we now have the balance wires. On the left you have the 0 negative, and then you have the 8th cell, and then on the right hand side you have the 0 negative of that pack, and then it counts up to 16. I then bought a spare extension cable, which I then cut, and then I just use the female side of it to connect to the BMS. The BMS is 10S to 17S, and we're using 16S, so that's absolutely fine. You've got the pins along here which go from 0 to 17. Now you've got two cables here, C minus and B minus. C minus is charge minus, so that's the negative that goes to the charging, and B minus is the battery minus, which is the negative that goes to the battery. And here is the wiring diagram for the 16S configuration. So I've soldered the extra BMS connector, and we start off with pack 1 0 or negative, and then we count all the way up to 8 on the cables, and then when we get to the positive 8 cable, we then bridge that across to the second pack to the 0 negative. Then we count up from 9 to 14, and then 15 and 16 on the BMS are joined together. That joins up with 15 on the battery pack, and then 16 on the battery pack. The main positive goes to 17 on the BMS. All we need to do now is connect the positive from the pack to the positive output, and then after that the negative on the pack to the negative output. So we now connect the balance connectors. So I'll connect the first one, which is on the first pack, which is the negative side, and then the second one on the second pack, which is the positive side. I always tend to label everything up to save any confusion. The BMS should now light up, and you'll get a blue light or a blue flashing light depending on your BMS. So this is the battery box that I've made, and I've already put the cables in. There's a XT90, which is the output for my electric skateboard, and then the charge port is an XT60, and I have wired up the XT60, so the negative will go straight through to the charge minus, so from the charge port to charge minus. And then the positive, I've also put an inline fuse, just like an ordinary car fuse, and that then goes to your main positive output from your battery pack. I've spliced it in, I basically cut it and soldered it in. And then the battery minus, that needs to connect to the battery output of your pack, and then on the end of it I've put another XT90 just so I can take it apart, and then you can connect it up and you're ready to go. So it's time to plug in the pack for charging. Always make sure your charger is switched on, because the voltage of the charger needs to match the pack. I've got an XT60 on mine, so all I need to do is just plug it in. My charger has actually got a display on it, which is quite handy because it will tell you the voltage of the pack and also how many watts it is charging at. And as you can see, it's charging at the moment. It's 62 volts, needs to come up to 67 for this pack, and it will tell you how many amps and how many watts the charger is charging at. I use an iPhone and I found that this is the best BMS that seems to work most reliably. All you need to do is download it, open it, and then all your available BMS batteries will be listed. So it will now pop up on your screen and it will display all of your cells. And as you can see, this pack is pretty decent. When I got the packs, they were second-hand. They were quite out, and then I had to use an active balancer to shift the voltage around and then passive balance and charged, and it all turned out okay. These are the settings that I got my pack dialed in at. I'm pretty happy with them. The thing you have to remember with Lipo batteries that they're different to lithium batteries, as the voltage needs to be higher at the minimum. Generally, I don't like to run them down below 3.6. Sometimes I reduce them to 3.5. And because we've bypassed the BMS, obviously you need to keep an eye on this, as the battery won't cut out because the BMS isn't controlling it.